will be peace of mind. Thanks for listening. Until next time at the same time, remember to stay safe so you can step into a secure future.
You've been listening to Safe Money Radio, the program that helps keep your retirement funds growing and never losing, so you can have the retirement that you deserve. Be sure to join us again next week for another informative edition of Safe Money Radio.
Safe Money Radio, your money safe and sound.
The preceding information does not represent tax, legal, or investment advice. Surrender charges apply to base contracts. Optional lifetime income benefit riders are used to calculate lifetime payments only and are not available for cash surrender or in a death benefit unless specified in the annual contract. Fees may apply. Guarantees are based on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the insurance company. No information presented today should be acted upon without meeting with a qualified and licensed professional. Obviously, by calling us now, you're just taking the first step towards protecting your retirement. It's important that you read all insurance contract disclosures carefully before making a purchase decision. Rates and returns mentioned on this program may vary based on state availability and are subject to change without notice.
KFTK FM Florissant, KFTK AM East St. Louis, K254CR St. Louis, powered by Window World, FM News Talk 97.1.
Medicare for all. A senator continues his crusade. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. Vermont Independent Senator Bernie Sanders holding another rally in support of single-payer health care.
What I say to the president is you are not standing up for the working class of Kentucky or America when you throw 22 million people off of the health insurance they have.
Sanders and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's home state. McConnell working on a new Obamacare replacement bill. No details as yet. On CBS's Face the Nation, Republican Senator John McCain says members of his party need to work with Democrats on fixing what's wrong with Obamacare.
If you shut out the adversary or the opposite party, you're going to end up the same way Obamacare did when they rammed it through with 60 votes. Only guess what? We don't have 60 votes.
Another major topic on the Sunday news shows President Trump's plans to work with Russia on cybersecurity.
The president took to Twitter to say this about cybersecurity. Putin and I discussed forming an impenetrable cybersecurity unit so that election hacking and many other negative things will be guarded. Okay, so what's the thinking behind this? Well, here's Secretary of State Rex Tillerson with a bit of an explanation.
We have to find a way to begin to address that, and it's not going to be only about Russia. It's going to be about an international engagement as well.
Meanwhile, Florida Republican Senator Marco Rubio, among many who are raising eyebrows, incredulously tweeting, partnering with Putin on a cybersecurity unit is akin to partnering with Assad on a chemical weapons unit.
That's Fox's Kevin Corke. Donald Trump Jr. responding to a New York Times story about a meeting he had with a Russian lawyer last summer. That lawyer claimed Russia was involved with the DNC and Hillary Clinton's campaign. Jr. says nothing to that. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather with Dave Murray.
Lots of sunshine, less humid. 88 for the high. Tonight, beautiful evening. Clear skies. 68 for the overnight low. Evening temperatures will be dropping out of the 80s and into the upper 70s. Not bad at all. Sunday, partly sunny. Overall, a good-looking day. Maybe a spot thunderstorm late. Don't worry about it. 89. Hot and humid, though, much of next week. I'm Fox 2 meteorologist Dave Murray for FM News Talk 97.1.
If you're retiring in the next 5 years, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, First Vice President Investments with Stifel and host of On the Money, heard every Saturday from 11 till noon on FM News Talk 97.1. Retirement is a huge step, and when it comes to investing your retirement assets, you can't afford to make mistakes. It's vitally important that you work with an experienced professional to guide you through the important retirement decisions. If you're retiring soon, let's meet to develop a clear plan for your retirement goals. Your meeting is an opportunity to understand your retirement options and receive my personal recommendation on how you should proceed. Of course, your consultation is free of charge and requires no obligation on your part. If you're retiring in the next 5 years, now is the time to review your plan. To schedule your free retirement plan review, visit bobstockdale.com or call me at 636-448-7655. That's bobstockdale.com or 636-448-7655. Stifel, member NYSE and SIPC.
Ranger Station.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting in the forest. 1 second, I'm having a smoke. Next thing I know, I'm face-to-face with Smokey Bear. Wow. And he told me it only takes one spark to start a wildfire.
Did you know 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans?
I had no idea.
That's why Smokey's famous and you're not. If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When a counselor asked how much my husband drinks, I said, not that much. I don't know why I said that. He always drank too much. But I guess I'm so used to keeping it a secret that I didn't tell the truth, to myself or anyone else. My husband has drinks with friends after work. He has a couple of drinks at home with dinner, and a few more while we watch TV. Pretty soon he's shouting at me and blaming me for all of his problems. I just can't take it anymore. A counselor recommended Al-Anon family groups. She said Al-Anon members have had experiences just like mine, and they would explain how Al-Anon is helping them. I didn't want to go to Al-Anon, but I'm sure glad I did. Is someone's drinking breaking your heart? You might be surprised at what you can learn at an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and keep children 3 feet away from anything that gets hot. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
President Trump's latest attack on the media.
It is disgusting.
Fascinated with it. We love it.
Keeping you informed and up to date.
But I'm president and they're not.
The Trump regime has got to fall over.
The news and talk station for St. Louis.
The president's first face-to-face meeting with Vladimir Putin.
FM News Talk 97.1.
For repealing Obamacare.
Younger, smarter.
Decide what comes next.
Better.
The Tim Jones Show.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump. The Tim Jones Show.
And so, right now, Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say, you're not going to be president.
Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States.
Donald Trump will never be elected president of the United States.
I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Donald Trump will lose the election. At least I will go down as a president.
This is the Tim Jones Show on FM News Talk 97.1.
I'm president and they're not.
This is the Tim Jones Show on FM News Talk 97.1, 98.7, and AM 1490. Or streaming live at 971talk.com and the 97.1 mobile app.
Traffic reports at your fingertips. Real-time traffic online. Log on to 971talk.com for real-time traffic updates.
Brought to you by Frank Lita Acura with 0.9% financing going on now. Can't beat a Lita. Online at litaacura.com.
Parents, if your son is not succeeding in high school or middle school, Missouri Military Academy could be the solution.
Our son Adam had everything going for him, but he ran into a brick wall in high school. He needed to make a change.
The Missouri Military Academy, because of the small and intimate class sizes, qualified and experienced instructors, it was an amazing fit.
Missouri Military Academy provided Adam with the tools that he really needed.
There's still time to enroll for fall 2017. Visit MissouriMilitaryAcademy.org today.
In yet another episode of private associations doing a better job at rescue efforts than the government, Airbnb and Dolly Parton save the day.
This is the Free Market Minute with Dr. Rachel Duchant.
You remember all these episodes, right? Walmart in New Orleans, the Cajun Navy in Louisiana, with the help of Facebook. And this time it's Airbnb and Dolly Parton in Tennessee. Thousands of families are displaced by those terrible fires in the South. Airbnb allowed purveyors in the South to charge $0. Hundreds of homes and rooms have been posted for those needing temporary lodgings. And Dolly Parton has asked all of her companies to pitch into the My People Fund so that displaced families can get $1,000 a month for the next 6 months while they get back on their feet. Because, you know, these are her people. Dolly's right. Charity starts at home. It just works better that way.
To learn more, visit Hammond.Institute. The Free Market Minute is a service of the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
As a small business owner, you make every dollar count. So what could you do with $10? Go to Vistaprint.com today and you'll get 500 high-quality custom business cards for only $9.99. That's less than 2 cents per card. And at Vistaprint, your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. So it's never been easier to turn 500 strangers into connections. Just visit Vistaprint.com and use promo code 1818 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 1818.
When you're hiring for a growing business, you don't need lots of candidates. You need the right candidates. You need Indeed.com. With an algorithm that positions your job post where quality candidates are and screener questions that help you zero in on the best talent. Indeed.com, the site proven through an independent study to deliver 5 times more hires than any other. New users claim your $50 credit for a sponsored job at Indeed.com/credit. Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
The news of the day.
North Korea's launch.
If Putin likes Donald Trump.
Challenges in the Middle East.
Every day.
Republican and Democrat.
Repeal Obamacare.
This tax hike.
The tweets. Fake news.
St. Louis's FM News Talk.
The West will never, ever be broken.
FM News Talk 97.1.
For our neighbors across the state.
In the region.
Across the globe.
Younger. Smarter. Smarter.
Very closely connected.
Better.
This is the Tim Jones Show. Call now, 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797.
Just as Poland could not be broken, I declare today for the world to hear that the West will never, ever be broken. Our values will prevail. Our people will thrive. And our civilization will triumph. So together, let us all fight like the Poles, for family, for freedom, for country, and for God. Thank you. God bless you. God bless the Polish people. God bless our allies. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Just about everything he did, of course, because they always do, but it seemed to me that a lot of the complaints this weekend about the visit were really weak.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they were really...
grasping for something.
Yeah, they were real thin, you know what I mean? And that's because he really, I think, hit it out of the park.
Oh, yeah.
So
I was proud.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and how wonderful for him to be standing in that square where, you know, and I'm Democratic controlled by the people of Poland.
Right.
It's really a testament to human spirit. And Donald Trump, I think he fed off that this week. So, not to bring us all down, the opposite of that was sort of a trouncing of the human spirit this week over in the once great land of Lincoln. And you know, I always try to maintain my optimistic spirit. I still say, even after this week, which I think is probably the low point in that state's history, I still think there's hope for the great state of Illinois. So to bring us the good news from the great state of Illinois is our own Fry of the Eddie Fry Show. We're here every Thursday on FM NewsTalk 97.1 from 5 to 7 p.m. Good evening, Eddie. Thanks for joining us.
When you asked me to come on, you didn't tell me I had to bring good news. I didn't know.
Eddie, I just pulled up a resource you use a lot, I know, and I use a lot, and we know these folks well, the Illinois Policy Institute, IllinoisPolicy.org, and the cartoons they have on. I guess they're trying to make us all laugh, despite the fact that it's just the dark days of Illinois, isn't it, right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, there's really nothing funny about it anymore at this point. And I've talked to many friends and family of mine. I literally have a text from somebody that says, "Where are we all moving to now after this tax increase passed?" And you know, I liken it to an abusive relationship. You get to the place where you realize that every time you think it's going to get better, they just come around and they turn around and it's like they beat you down again. We've had so many problems in the state of Illinois. Let me tell you a little bit about what came out of this budget. I understand there's a deficit. I understand there's a hole. They didn't address the pension debt, which is the albatross that is causing the trouble in the state of Illinois. But here's something that they did include in this budget. $130,000 for SIU's student newspaper, $200,000 to research mosquitoes, and $285,000 to teach kids how to fish. I can teach my own kid how to fish, and I can save some dollars in the meantime by not sending it to the state of Illinois to funnel it through there so that they can do these things. When you're living in Illinois and they keep asking you to give more of your money, and I see people on Twitter saying, you know, it's time to step up. It's time that the Illinois the people of Illinois do what they need to do and contribute and help get us out of the problem. It's not the taxpayers of Illinois that have gotten us into this problem. It's the people who are serving in Springfield right now, and they're asking us for a Disney World vacation budget when we should be thinking about a thrifty trip to the Lake of the Ozarks. And I've had enough.
After I spoke with you this week, I listened to a couple of your callers. They made some really good points that most of the state is not, insane left-wing, spend every dollar we get. It's that area around Chicago, so I guess some of it's probably gerrymandering. But how did we get to this point where a Midwestern state like Illinois, which is very comparable to Missouri in a lot of ways, get to the point where they have the highest property tax in the country, more people are leaving it than any other state. Now their income taxes are up there in the upper brackets. They have a horrible spending problem, the worst pension system in the country. How does a Midwestern state get to this level?
Well, Chicago is the third largest city in the country, and as Chicago goes, so does Illinois. And if you look at the leadership that's been driving Chicago into the ground in every direction that you turn, who leads? What political party leads Chicago? Of course, the Democrats do, as do most large cities who have faced this type of enormous problem. And who leads Springfield? Mike Madigan, who's from Chicago. So gerrymandering is a huge part of it. I cannot stress enough. If you are living in the state of Illinois, if you are a voter in the state of Illinois, you are 8 seats away, flipping 8 Democrats to Republicans. I live in Madison County. I live in the Edwardsville-Glen Carbon area. We have a Democratic representative. Costello in the Belleville area, Swansea area, he's a Democrat. They both voted no for this tax increase. They both voted no, but they both voted yes to increase the spending. And the reason that they did that is because they're in close districts, and they know Madigan funneled so much money into their campaigns, into their elections, so they win. Madigan said, go ahead, vote no for the tax increase because I invested a lot of money to get a Democrat to take that seat in that district. I can't afford to lose it because 8 seats, if the Republicans can get 8 seats back, that's the only way that we take the power out of Chicago that is funneled through Mike Madigan and all of the decisions that he gets to make. That's where the power is. That's what we have to do to stop it. Otherwise, I would say leave the state because it isn't going to change.
Speaking of Annie Fry, of the Annie Fry show, Annie, isn't it amazing that, we always call the states the laboratories of democracy and public policy. They get to try things out, right, in 50 different ways. And we can look around the country and see which of the 50 different ways that the states are doing something works or doesn't work. Annie, don't you find it amazing how the media, whether it's the editorial boards up in Chicago with the Tribune or the editorial boards right across the river here with the Post-Dispatch, isn't it amazing how they ignore the laboratory of left-wing progressivism gone wild? I mean, if a conservative state does something that doesn't quite work out, pick the issue, whatever it may be. Oh, my goodness. It is like 3 weeks of nonstop badgering and abusive reporting, but the state of Illinois has been failing now for decades because, like you said, Democrats have controlled it. Speaker Madigan's been there for, my entire life.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing how they can just ignore these problems caused by left-wing progressive policies?
Well, the reason why they really truly don't see the problem with it, because for liberals, for progressives, there's never enough government. There's never enough control centralized with the elitist people who feel they're so much more intelligent than the rest of us, who consolidate their powers in governments. And so the problem is never that the conservative thing maybe worked over there and think about all the people you hurt with your conservative policies. If something isn't going right in a progressively controlled government structure, it's because you're not to the left far enough. You're not spending enough. People haven't done enough, given enough to make those policies actually functional.
Annie, one last question for you. So you kind of alluded to this with the fact that there's less than a dozen seats could flip in next year's election, and suddenly Speaker Madigan is retired, and we'd have Republicans control the legislature. My issue is, you mentioned the fact that Madigan is so good and so crafty and such a deal maker that he's like the evil Trump, right? He's like the deal maker on the other side, and he got a bunch of Republicans to vote for his junk wagon, his dumpster fire, tax increases, blah blah blah, to save some of his Democrats. Annie, my question is, do you see enough of a leadership in the Republican House and or Senate in Illinois if they can get these Republicans to work together and realize that Madigan is not the solution to Illinois' woes, it would be a Republican Party that moves to the right to help Governor Rauner put some fiscal restraint on a state that desperately needs it.
I have to say, at this point in time, I have not identified that leader. I don't have somebody. David McSweeney has been very blunt, very outspoken. He's a representative in the House who has said straight up what he's thinking, what needs to be said. It is very Trump-esque in the way he speaks about things. He doesn't, polish it up all pretty so that it's very political oriented. He just says what he needs to say. There are Republicans that are standing up. There are Republicans that are putting their foot down. But there aren't enough of them right now for it to really matter. And I haven't seen that person, from the top down in the Republican Party in Illinois stand up and make a defense yet to unify the Republicans against Mike Madigan. And that's because state politics, local politics, they're just not as fun as Donald Trump tweeting or a handshake or what he said to Joe and Mika. Because that's what everyone else turns all that into a reality sideshow. It's not as fun, but boy, is it more impactful on your life. So I am waiting and watching right now to see how the Republican Party in the state of Illinois reacts to this, because the truth of the matter is they are losing residents. People are considering leaving if they haven't left already, and there needs to be that unifying voice. They need to take it seriously because the people in Illinois right now, they're screaming for help, and if nobody listens, they'll leave. And you can raise taxes all you want, but if they leave their tax dollars, they're not your dollars. Yeah. Yep. Thanks, Emmy. You too.
The Tim Jones Show on FM NewsTalk 97.1.
Dependable weather.
Clouds take control today. Chance of a couple of spotty
with Fox 2 meteorologist Dave Murray.
Brought to you by Air Comfort Service with 0% financing and double utility rebates on new HVAC systems. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res Carpet Cleaning Company. So you are talking to not just the king, I am the master of procrastination, of justification. You give me a deadline and I will find a really good reason why to blow right through it. And you're probably similar. So you hear me talking about Zero Res. You hear me talking about getting your carpets cleaned, how it doesn't just make them beautiful, but it makes them healthy because there's all sorts of nastiness that just filters down into that carpet. You need to get it done, but you find reasons. Hey, let's do it after the holidays. Let's do it after Memorial Day. Let's do it after Labor Day. Just put on the big boy pants, get it done. It's one of those grown-up things you need to do, and they do it great. They're in and out. They use the patented empowered water system, and you don't have to do it again for a really long time. Mention me, get 3 rooms for starting at $129. 314-474-2020, ZeroResSTL.com.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
10-year-old Tyler Boone from Georgia makes the Dean's List. After waiting 2 years, Tyler gave his friend Gabby Ruiz a present she will never forget. You see, at age 4, Gabby was diagnosed with a hair loss disorder. And although she's gone through different types of treatments, she's been unable to grow her hair. So her friend Tyler decided he wanted to make her a wig. For all of these months, Tyler has been growing his hair. And he's been mistaken for a girl one too many times.
Kind of got used to it.
Tyler finally met up with Gabby for a photo shoot, and they measured his hair before Gabby personally cut it. The hair will be donated to a nonprofit, Children with Hair Loss, to make a wig just for Gabby. Following the photo shoot, the two walked over to the salon inside the mall where Tyler got treated to a new hairstyle of his choice.
Just want to make her happy.
Tyler, thank you for being such a good friend to Abby. You're a cut above the rest. And you made the Dean's List. Janice Dean, Fox News.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
The Mark Cox Show.
Monday, we'll have the latest on the president's trip overseas, and we'll talk to the first Republican candidate in the Missouri Senate race against Claire McCaskill.
Now, weekdays noon to 3 on FM News Talk 97.1.
This is the Tim Jones Show. Call now, 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797.
This guitar, sweeter than sugar cane. You got my heart wrapped up like it's down in a holler, covered in kudzu vines. When the night feels right, I'm gonna come a-calling. I'm gonna make you mine.
Now, the Tim Jones Show presents...
Someone believes some fake news story.
Especially by the media.
This is very dangerous to America.
They're corporatist, globalist media.
Media malpractice.
Argue that this speech is one of the best speeches in terms of thematics and staying on message and sort of offering a worldview that he's given yet. And the setting was interesting. It was in the Krasinski Square in Warsaw. Thousands and thousands of people were waving American flags and Polish flags. But this is not a speech he could have given really any place else. And this is a white America first kind of speech. He was offering a very stark view, actually, about about migration, about immigration, about other things. It wasn't a modern day speech, if you will. It was sort of a throwback speech, but he was offering a sense that, be afraid of what is happening in the world now. This is a Stephen Miller written speech. He's one of his top policy advisors here. And it was praised in a lot of corners, but he probably couldn't have given that speech here in America.
And whether you agree or disagree with it, it is good to hear a
We've heard lots of clips of the president's speech in Warsaw. To my ear, the one thing that leapt out, which we didn't play it in this clip, but in this whole run of things, talking about Western civilization, he threw in there, "We write symphonies." And that's that triggered the alarm bells for me, that this was not just some speech about democratic values or even Western civilization. This was about something else.
Speech was the ultimate fulfillment of Osama bin Laden's ideology of the belief that there would be a clash of civilizations between what he views as his crazy version of Islam and the West. And, bin Laden believed in Samuel Huntington's clash of civilizations, and he thought that by collapsing the Soviet Union with the Mujahideen in the 1980s, that Islam, his version of Islam, not the present one that's been around since 622, his version of Islam would eventually go into a war with the West. And Trump seemed to embody and enshrine that belief that the West should steel itself for a clash of civilizations with other cultures, other beliefs, which pretty much spelled out, the Muslim world.
I think the most notable part of the trip was President Trump's speech in Poland, which was a powerful speech, and it really highlighted the Polish people's resistance to the Nazis, resistance to the Soviet Union. He recounted Pope John Paul, one of the great world leaders of history, who stood alongside Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher with 1 million Poles in the public square. I've been to that square in Poland where they were chanting, "We want God," in this communist, atheist country under the Iron Curtain, oppressed by the Soviet Union. I got to tell you, I'm certain Putin and the Russians did not like President Trump powerfully telling the power of freedom and the desire of people to live free to overcome the oppression and tyranny of the Soviet Union, and I would note of modern-day Russia as well.
The Tim Jones Show.
Divorce is a serious thing. To the extent that you can save your marriage, you should. No one knows that better than the attorneys at Cordell & Cordell.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
As many of you know, we represent men in domestic relations cases. And most of our clients are captive to a process they didn't choose. If they could have, they would have saved their marriage, but their wives told them they want out. Suddenly at issue are the assets they've been a lifetime accumulating. What's more important, their role in their children's lives. If you're confronted with a marriage you can't save, we hope that you'll consider Cordell & Cordell.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Call the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's attorneys, a partner men can count on. 314-725-0000, 725 all zeros, or visit online at CordellCordell.com. Offices in St. Louis, St. Charles, Jefferson County, Edwardsville, and Belleville.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're struggling with your mortgage. You think about it all the time.
What are we going to do if we lose the house?
It's time to stop thinking and start dialing. Call 1-888-995-HOPE for a free government program that offers expert one-on-one advice about your mortgage options. We've helped over 1 million homeowners, and we want to help you. Call 1-888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
As a small business owner, you make every dollar count. So what could you do with $10? Go to Vistaprint.com today and you'll get 500 high-quality custom business cards for only $9.99. That's less than 2 cents per card. And at Vistaprint, your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. So it's never been easier to turn 500 strangers into connections. Just visit Vistaprint.com and use promo code 1818 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 1818.
When you're
you're hiring for a growing business, you don't need lots of candidates. You need the right candidates. You need Indeed.com. With an algorithm that positions your job post where quality candidates are, and screener questions that help you zero in on the best talent. Indeed.com, the site proven through an independent study to deliver 5 times more hires than any other. New users claim your $50 credit for a sponsored job at Indeed.com/credit. Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Terms, conditions, and quality standards.
KFTK FM, Florissant. KFTK AM East St. Louis. K254CR St. Louis.
Powered by thehomeloanexpert.com.
FM News Talk 97.1.
A meeting last summer between a Russian lawyer and top Trump campaign officials, also family. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. In attendance, former campaign chair Paul Manafort, the president's son-in-law Jared Kushner, and Donald Trump Jr., who says he agreed to meet the woman after being contacted by an acquaintance he knew from the 2013 Miss Universe pageant in Moscow. He also responded to the story reported by the New York Times.
The White House feels like this woman did not represent herself properly. In fact, they argue that she misrepresented herself and her true intentions of this particular meeting. And I should point out that's actually coming from the outside legal team and from Donald Trump Jr. himself. Let me share part of a statement. It reads in part, the woman stated that she had information that individuals connected to Russia were funding the Democratic National Committee and supporting Ms. Clinton. The statement goes on to read, her statements were vague, ambiguous, and made no sense. He adds, most notably, my father knew nothing of the meeting or these events.
Fox's Kevin Corke, members of the president's own party critical of his plans to work with Russia on the issue of cybersecurity.
It's not the dumbest idea I've ever heard, but it's pretty close.
That's Republican Senator Lindsey Graham on NBC's Meet the Press. A ceasefire in Syria brokered by the U.S., Russia, and Jordan holding for now. California Governor Jerry Brown declaring a state of emergency in Butte County, where one of 14 wildfires is burning in his state. The so-called wall fire now threatens some 5,400 homes. Thousands evacuated, 4 firefighters hurt battling the flames. In Santa Barbara County, the fast-moving Whittier fire is now 10% contained. More than 40 wildfires burning in every single western state. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather with Dave Murray.
Lots of sunshine, less humid. 88 for the high. Tonight, beautiful evening. Clear skies. 68 for the overnight low. Evening temperatures will be dropping out of the 80s and into the upper 70s. Not bad at all. Sunday, partly sunny. Overall, a good-looking day. Maybe a spot thunderstorm late. Don't worry about it. 89. Hot and humid, though, much of next week. I'm Fox 2 meteorologist Dave Murray for FM News Talk 97.1.
Hello, I'm John Rooney, your Homers for Health radio chairman. You don't want to miss the Homers for Health online auction July 10th through the 24th. Bid on amazing items like dinner with Matt Carpenter and Trevor Rosenthal, an inning in the broadcast booth with my buddy Mike Shannon and me, tickets to Hamilton and Chicago, Cardinals suites, autographed memorabilia, and more. Visit Glennon.org/H4H and start bidding now. Every bid makes a difference in the lives of Cardinal Glennon kids. Presented by Heartland Coca-Cola.
AARP in St. Louis is proud to present the 54th Annual Moonlight Ramble Bike Ride, Saturday, August 5th at 8th and Sear in downtown St. Louis. Join us for an evening of fun as thousands of bicyclists take over the streets of St. Louis under the light of the moon. Register before July 30th and get a free commemorative Moonlight Ramble t-shirt. The Moonlight Ramble Bike Ride, Saturday, August 5th. Get more information and register now at moonlightramble.com. Brought to you by AARP in St. Louis, Missouri Coalition for Roadway Safety, the Smile Generation, and Blue Moon.
Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem even I can't fight alone: childhood hunger. Over 17 million kids in America may not know where their next meal is coming from. That's 1 in 5 children. Yet billions of pounds of surplus food produced right here in America just get thrown out every year. That's more than enough to feed every last hungry child. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids before it goes to waste. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by going to feedingamerica.org. Together we can knock out hunger.
Together, we're feeding America.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running? That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Kelly Clarkson, and I've toured the country dozens of times, and there's one thing I see everywhere: childhood hunger. The sad truth is that 17 million kids struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers up surplus food and gets it to hungry kids. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Trending on FM News Talk 97.1.
I declare today for the world to hear that the West will never, ever be broken.
Stay connected.
And our civilization will triumph.
G20. I think what CNN did was unfortunate for them.
This is,
as far as North Korea is concerned,
FM News Talk 97.1.
Defend ourselves and our allies.
Younger, smarter, better.
The Tim Jones Show.
You picked the wrong schoolyard to come into.
The strong protecting the weak and the good defeating evil.
This was a white lie.
The people know the truth.
The Tim Jones Show.
He's a vulgar pig.
The fake media.
Oh, well, he's covering his hands here because they're teensy.
This is the Tim Jones Show on FM News Talk 97.1.
But I'm president and they're not. The story of Poland is the story of a people who have never lost hope, who have never been broken, and who have never, ever forgotten who they are. And so I am here today, not just to visit an old ally, but to hold it up as an example for others who seek freedom and who wish to summon the courage and the will to defend our civilization. Americans, Poles, and nations of Europe value individual freedom and sovereignty. We must work together to confront forces, whether they come from inside or out, from the South or the East, that threaten over time to undermine these values and to erase the bonds of culture, faith, and tradition that make us who we are. What we've inherited from our ancestors has never existed to this extent before. And if we fail to preserve it, it will never, ever exist again. So we cannot fail. The fundamental question of our time is whether the West has the will to survive. Do we have the confidence in our values to defend them at any cost? Do we have enough respect for our citizens to protect our borders? Do we have the desire and the courage to preserve our civilization in the face of those who would subvert and destroy it?
Undermine our courage, sap our spirit. ISIS isn't doing that to us. Our elites are. When they tell us to hate ourselves and our culture and our history, when they teach our children to despise the country that produced them, when they claim that percentage point of annual economic growth is more important than the bonds that connect us to each other. America isn't falling to foreign invaders. It is rotting from within because the people in charge don't think it's worth preserving. You have to love a civilization in order to save it, and they don't. Well, in 141 of the crispest, truest words he has ever spoken, the president reminded the world why the West is worth defending. We don't hear it that much, but all of that is true. We are different from other societies. We speak freely. We protect the individual. We do write symphonies. We have no reason to be ashamed. We've got a lot of reasons, countless reasons, to be proud, and not just of our wealth. A civilization is not merely the sum of a country's GDP. It's a constellation of values and norms and traditions, heroes and villains, and yes, even religious beliefs. Ours is the most successful and benevolent in human history, but it's still vulnerable. All civilizations are vulnerable. Rome looked invincible at one point, too. It turned out not to be. So it's worth remembering the basics. Western civilization is our birthright. It makes all good things possible. Undefended, it collapses. And so we've got to fight to preserve it, not just with airstrikes, but with a vigorous defense of our common values. Nothing matters more than that. President Trump has his flaws, but to his everlasting credit, he is willing to say all of that out loud. And that's worth something, maybe a lot.
The Tim Jones Show on FM NewsTalk 97.1. Do you stream FM NewsTalk 97.1 on your phone? Check out Next Radio. It's an FM tuner built into your phone, so you can stop using up data and save your battery. More details at 971talk.com/nextradio.
Last night we put on an epic light show.
Yeah, we did.
The crowd loved us. We love the crowd.
Wait, but there were only 4 people out there.
Yeah, but did you see their 4 faces? All 8 of their eyes lit up brighter than ours. And we're fireflies.
Yeah, we are.
Hey, that one girl, she looked like she'd never seen glow in the dark like this before, and we invented glow in the dark.
Yeah, we invented it.
And we're gonna be out here every night rocking out our light show at a forest near you.
Woohoo!
So come check us out.
Check us out. out!
And bring your kid, all ages show. Oh, but don't bring any of those glass jars, because they make us kind of nervous.
Yeah, and I'm super claustrophobic.
Whether you're rocking their world or they're rocking yours, some memories never fade. Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you and discover other cool things to do when you go, like fishing, biking, or even camping. Visit discovertheforest.org.
See you later!
Yeah, see you soon!
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem I can't fight alone: childhood hunger. 17 million kids in America struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Take an ordinary putty knife and scrape off the old wax ring. Place the new wax ring over the flange, then line up the bolts with the bowl and gently set in place, making sure a proper seal is created with the flange and drain. Next.
Dad?
Yeah, sweetie.
Is that an old plumbing manual?
Oh, yeah, honey.
We really need to get some new books.
Right, do you want me to stop?
Nah, I kinda wanna know how it ends.
Okay. Tighten the bolts, line up the flushing valve to the opening in the top of the bowl, and secure the tank with a screwdriver and crescent wrench.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Man, last night we put on an epic light show.
So epic.
The crowd loved us.
Wait, there were only 4 people out there.
Yeah, but did you see their 4 faces? Their eyes lit up brighter than ours, and we're fireflies.
Yeah, we are.
And we're gonna be out here rocking out our light show at a forest near you, so come check us out.
Check us out.
Whether you're rocking their world or they're rocking yours, some memories never fade. Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
My name is Meera Batra. I have been in this country 32 years, and this is how I live united. America has always been the land of promise, and in my community, many families have come for a better life. Coming from another culture myself, I know the desire to become part of a community, to feel at home, and to gain the tools for our children and families to succeed. So I advocate for these families with United Way. United Way empowers them to look beyond their histories and to see what opportunities are available. We help them get involved with their kids' schools, network within the community, and when we do, we unite them. We make the community stronger. What I do is something I wish someone had done for me, and I am so grateful I am able to. My name is Meera Batra. I help families see opportunities and succeed. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
President Trump's latest attack on the media.
It is disgusting.
Fascinated with it. We love it.
Keeping you informed and up to date.
But I'm president and they're not.
The Trump regime has got to fall over.
The news and talk station for St. Louis.
The president's first face-to-face meeting with Vladimir Putin.
FM News Talk 97.1.
Repealing Obamacare.
Younger, smarter.
Decide what comes next.
Better.
Right now, we both know we're Marina Del Rey. Plane's gonna fly away, and you'll be on it.
This is the Tim Jones Show. Call now, 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797.
With all due respect, when Tom's saying Republicans don't give a blank about anyone, when he goes around and says that about the other party, I know Democrats care. other people. We just have a difference of opinion on the path to get there. But that type of rhetoric doesn't bring people to our parties. We have to have reasonable discussions, have a dialogue, be respectful of each other, but share our opinions as to what the best path is to get to the same place we both want to go, which is a better life for our kids, for our grandkids.
To our next guest, which is Mike Ferguson of the Show Me Institute, and he is the new director of communications over there at the Show Me Institute, and he joins us now live. Hey, Mike, good evening.
Hey, good evening. How are you? And if we're going to plant money trees, let's just plant them all over Forest Park, and that way we can solve all the problems in one fell swoop.
Apparently. So, Mike, did I get your new title right? Are you director of communications?
Yes. Okay. Yes, I am.
That's what I thought. So, and Mike, you and I have known each other a long time. So
oh, yeah.
But welcome to the Tim Jones Show. This is your inaugural visit. I think one of many. I plan on that. So
I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to be you're a Kansas City guy, and you're going to be fully transplanting yourself over here in Cardinals Nation City. Have you got your red hat yet?
It's funny. I don't have a hat, but I've got the T-shirt and I've got the sunglasses. And although I am in Kansas City at the moment, I have already transplanted. I have already moved to St. Louis, so I am the newest St. Louisan in the area. So full-time St. Louis, live in Richmond Heights.
Wonderful. Well, Mike, it's great to have you on the other side of the state, and I know you've already done some fill-in work here for Jamie Allman.
Yep.
And you'll be doing more of that down the line. So you're now at the Show Me Institute. I pulled up the website. And I see that, like you just referred to, St. Louis apparently has not met a sales tax yet it doesn't like. It is the sales tax monster of the Midwest, maybe only outdone by our good friends in the land of Lincoln.
Well, absolutely. It's getting to the point of waving the red flag and saying, folks, danger, danger, danger. We've now got in some areas of the St. Louis metro area, St. Louis City in particular, sales tax rates that are climbing into near the top 10 in the country. We're talking more than San Francisco. We're talking more than L.A. We're talking more than New York City. And here's the thing, Tim, is we don't know where the line is that makes people say, wait a minute, I'm going to pay attention to sales tax and go shop somewhere else. We don't know where that line is because I don't know that anybody's really studied it that much. But once you get into 11, 12, 13, 14%, people start noticing, and wherever that line is, I'm afraid we're going to find out the hard way if we don't start taking a very close look at every single sales tax proposal that's out there. And we just raised taxes with Prop 1, and now we're talking about raising taxes again in the city, and Chesterfield now wants to, a part of Chesterfield wants to adding to the sales tax in the Chesterfield Valley to pay for a private hockey rink. And everybody likes to say, oh, it's just a little bit here, no big deal, nobody's even going to notice. But when you layer them on top of each other, 2, 3, 4, 5 deep, it really adds up.
And Mike, don't all we need to do, especially this week, is simply look across the river at a place where, and I should point out, the Show Me Institute is a nonpartisan think tank based here in St. Louis. But Mike, we can criticize both parties in Illinois because they both made it happen this week. Madigan could not have done it without assistance from some Republicans to pass this latest disaster that they call a budget, their first budget in 3 years. And instead of making some common sense reforms and addressing their problems, like their pension system and all their unfunded liabilities and all their ridiculous spending, they do this horrible budget that simply raises taxes on Illinoisans and continue to drive people out. Mike, what could this? Isn't this a prime opportunity for St. Louis and Missouri as a whole to be like, whoa, we hate that Illinois is doing this to itself, but everybody could come here, and how could Missouri be more attractive, especially at this point in time?
Yeah, basically Missouri has to just be Missouri right now, and you're going to be more attractive than Illinois. Last week I was in Albuquerque at a meeting of communications directors from conservative and libertarian think tanks around the country, and our friends at the Illinois Policy Institute, which basically do in Illinois what we do here, they came up to me and introduced themselves and said, "So, are you looking forward to taking all of our people?" And I said, well, just the productive ones. You can keep the ones that drain all of your resources. We want the productive ones. We'll take the business owners, and we'll take the folks that are really hardworking who keep getting left behind by government. And they just kind of shrugged and rolled their eyes, and they said, this is unbelievable. And you're right, Tim. It is across the board. While Democrats run the legislature, they couldn't get, the last draft I saw was something like a 31% income tax increase. Something along those lines, and they couldn't do that without the Republicans saying, okay, you're right, something has to be done, we just have to just suck it up and be brave and vote to do this, and then they're going to act surprised and shocked when people start doing all of their business, and businesses start running to Missouri, start running to Tennessee, start running to Kentucky, and start running to Indiana. Indiana is already robbing Central and Eastern Illinois blind of their businesses.
And Mike, I mean, the proof's in the pudding, right? And the proof is in the facts of reality. And that, last year, the Chicago Tribune, of all publications, wrote at the end of the year, they actually wrote an editorial pointing out the fact that Illinois lost more population than any other state in the Union. And I was amazed when I read that article. I was like, did someone sneak into the Tribune and steal a computer? Because they pointed to high crime rates and high tax rates. And maybe we need to, they're like, they didn't want to say go right to work. They weren't that bold, but they were like, maybe we need to look at our labor policies and maybe we need to look at our unfunded pension liabilities and on and on and on. So, Mike, it's like even the otherwise sometimes liberal media is sort of getting at, what is wrong with the politicians over there? Is Madigan that oblivious, or does he just not care anymore? It astounds me.
It's what happens when you, I think, make your philosophy your idolatry instead of looking at public policy and say, what are the facts? What works? How are we going to fix this? And it doesn't have to be a partisan talking point, but you have to look at it and say, we've identified the problem. Businesses can't do business here profitably. Entrepreneurs are scared to start up businesses here. Farmers are being left behind. Blue-collar workers, nobody's fighting for them. But everybody is worried about how we're going to spend the government program money, the way that we want to spend it without saying, you know what, there's just not enough money to it. So if your orthodoxy is government solves problems, more money to government means better government, you have to turn a blind eye to what's happening, and what happens is your orthodoxy becomes more important than the people you're trying to serve. And we've seen Republicans do that. We've seen Democrats do it. And what has to happen is someone has to say, it's time to get real, it's time to get serious about public policy, and it's time to look at the facts, and the facts say government must shrink. We have got to stop sucking all this money out of people's lives and basically flushing it down the toilet, whether it's a public pension system that needs to be reformed, whether it is, bloated contracts with labor unions, whatever it is, we've got to take a realistic approach. And that also means the cuts in government are really going to hurt the people who have become too dependent on government. But the choice is, do you want to make those people happy, or do you want to make people who employ hundreds and thousands of people in the private sector happy to keep them in your state.
Speaking to Mike Ferguson, Director of Communications at the Show Me Institute. Mike, I have one last question for you. Did you get a chance to look at or read anything about the Governor Greitens's, Missouri Governor Greitens's tax commission report and all that was released last week?
Yeah, I've actually got it right here with me in the hotel room right now, and we've got basically it's a good start. Now as you know, Tim, it's going to get mangled through the House of Representatives when they create the initial budget. You've been there, you've done that, and we've actually put a blog post up at showmeinstitute.org. But there are several things in there that we think are a pretty good start, at least a good place to to have a good discussion point, because Missouri is actually in a much better condition economically than obviously our neighbors to either side of us are, east and west. But this is not where we need to get complacent. This is not where we need to say, okay, we need to start relying on more government spending. Matter of fact, Patrick Ishmael was one of the people who testified in front of the Governor's Commission on one of their stops around the state. You can read that testimony on our website as well. We've got to be really, really careful to say, listen, tax policy matters, and it's really important, and it affects people's lives in a very real way. And if we want to really keep fighting for that forgotten worker, that forgotten middle class, then we'd better have a spending plan and a budget that keeps government in check, in addition to funding, the core, essential, legitimate functions of government. If they want to do it on Twitter, at @MFergusonMedia or at ShowMe, and showmeinstitute.org is I think the best way to do that. Anytime.
Let's sing Brown-Eyed Girl, Sweet Caroline, Free Fall.
The Tim Jones Show on FM NewsTalk 97.1.
Watch the Mark Cox Show live on the Granite Transformation Studio Cam at 971talk.com/Cox. Log on to our website or use your mobile device to join the daily live stream and watch the show. It's the Granite Transformation Studio Cam at 971talk.com/Cox.
If you know the value of good machines, then it's high time we got together. We're Bailey Industrial, builders of metal and woodworking equipment, hard-working machines for hard-working people. We stand behind our equipment and make sure our equipment stands behind you, offering you the after-sale support you need to keep your shop running smoothly, which means making sure you have what you need when you need it, typically shipping within 72 hours or less. So whether you're a fabricator or manufacturer of metal or wood products, go to Bailey.com or call 920-MACHINE and we'll send you a catalog. That's right, friend, over 400 pages of what you love most, machines. So whatever you're looking to build or manufacture, do it with Bailey Industrial, the company you can trust to give you the equipment and service you can rely on. That's BAILEIGH, Bailey, because if it's worth doing right, it's only right to do it with Bailey. So call 920-MACHINE or go to Bailey.com now and pick up your free catalog.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So we all know we've got a lot of talent in America, but unfortunately there's something else we've got way too much of: childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So of course we all know there's lots of talent in America. But unfortunately, there's something else we've got way too much of: childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. But here's the thing, this problem is entirely solvable. Seriously, we already produce more than enough healthy, nutritious food in this country to feed every single last one of those hungry kids. We just need a way to get it to them. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks is out there every day gathering surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families all across the country. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
My name is Meera Batra, and this is How I Live United. Many families have come to America for a better life. I advocate for these families with United Way. United Way empowers them to see opportunities available. We help them get involved with their kids' schools and network within the community. My name is Meera Batra. I help families see opportunity and succeed. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Securing America.
The New York City Police Department recorded 998 shootings with 335 murders in 2016, almost a record low.
People who commit most of the violent crime in our city, we're picking them off one by one.
NYPD Commissioner James O'Neill credits a get tough policy on gangs and guns and community policing policies. Here in Chicago, there were over 4,000 shootings and 762 murders last year. Numbers not seen in decades amid rapid gang and gun violence and weakened police force over what former Chicago Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy blames the cancer of politics.
And therefore, you're not getting the performance that you used to.
Chicago's Mayor Rahm Emanuel promising more cops and mentoring programs, though President-elect Donald Trump this week said the mayor needs federal help. The current police superintendent is also asking the state to step in. In Chicago, Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Jamie Allman in the morning.
The VA deal. It's not going to get coverage. And this idea somehow that if President Trump just stopped tweeting, the media would then start covering this stuff, it's a lie. They won't cover it at all.
On FM News Talk 97.1.
This is the Tim Jones Show. Call now, 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797.
Somebody, for some reason, appears to be shopping a fairly convincing fake NSA document that purports to directly implicate somebody from the Trump campaign in working with the Russians on their attack on the election. It is a forgery. Let me caveat that. It is either a forgery or every single national security official we consulted about this story is wrong about it. I don't know if the Trump campaign worked with Russia or not.
She brought up a line that you said that you were quoted as saying, "Do you?"
Are the fastest and the greatest community. There is nothing like our community of nations. The world has never known anything like our community of nations. We write symphonies. We pursue innovation. We celebrate our ancient heroes, embrace our timeless traditions and customs, and always seek to explore and discover brand new frontiers. We reward brilliance. We strive for excellence and cherish inspiring works of art that honor God. We treasure the rule of law and protect the right to free speech and free expression. We empower women as pillars of our society and of our success. We put faith and family, not government and bureaucracy, at the center of our lives, and we debate everything. We challenge everything. We seek to know everything so that we can better know ourselves. And above all, we value the dignity of every human life, protect the rights of every person, and share the hope of every soul to live in freedom.
The Tim Jones Show on FM NewsTalk 97.1.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. And you might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Most Americans think this country is on the wrong track, but when asked about their personal finances, they're actually pretty happy. What gives?
This is the Free Market Minute with Dr. Rachel Duchant.
Politicians and pundits from both sides have every reason to jaw on and on about how terrible things are. The more afraid we are, the better for them. They get more power and more attention. So let's take a moment to ground ourselves in reality here. America is insanely rich compared to the rest of the world. We do so well because we're so darned entrepreneurial. All the big tech startups in all of Europe equal 1/3 of Facebook in value. And that's not even to mention Apple and Netflix and Google. We take risks and then turn our daring into piles of money. Sure, we could do some things better, but our system does a pretty good job of rewarding us for our efforts.
To learn more, visit Hammond.Institute. The Free Market Minute is a service of the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college, which ends up making the future better for all of us. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, Rachel Ray here. Nothing puts a bigger smile on my face than cooking up a big meal for family and friends. But there's not enough room at my table for the 17 million kids in America who are struggling with hunger. These children, that's 1 out of every 5, often have to skip meals because there's just nothing to eat in the kitchen. Yet there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food produced right here in America to feed every last hungry child. If only there was a way to get it to them. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks collects surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families all across our country. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America at your local food bank and at feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
KFTK FM Florissant, KFTK AM East St. Louis, K254CR St. Louis.
Powered by Window World.
FM News Talk 97.1.
Republicans had hoped to repeal and replace Obamacare by now. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said to be working on a new bill after he couldn't come up with enough Republican votes to get it passed. In McConnell's home state of Kentucky, Independent Senator Bernie Sanders calling that bill
the worst and most dangerous piece of legislation ever proposed in the modern history of our country.
Sanders calling for a single-payer system, Medicare for all. On CBS's Face the Nation, Arizona Republican Senator John McCain suggesting his GOP colleagues give repeal a rest.
It's probably going to be dead, but I've been wrong. I thought I'd be president of the United States.
Donald Trump Jr. responding to a New York Times story about a meeting he set up with a Russian lawyer last July.
He and others from the campaign met with a Russian lawyer last summer, hoping to score some intel about the Hillary Clinton campaign. He's actually issued a statement that reads in part that the meeting lasted 20 to 30 minutes. The woman who was the attorney in the meeting, she claimed to know of individuals connected to Russia who were funding the DNC. She made statements that were vague, ambiguous, and made no sense. He also goes on to add that the president neither attended nor knew anything about that meeting.
Fox's Kevin Corke also in attendance. Former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort and the president's son-in-law Jared Kushner. Back in Washington, President Trump feeling so happy about how the G20 summit had gone, he made a music video, posting it on Twitter. Featuring photos of him meeting with other world leaders, with First Lady Melania Trump and daughter Ivanka, who sat in for him at one work session. Expect to hear that song a lot. Fox News, Fair and Balanced.
Every school busing classroom. I go to school with your children. We say the Pledge of Allegiance together. You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm one out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger. This problem is closer than you think. My teacher tells me we can grow up to be whatever we want. I want to grow up to be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry. There's enough food in this country to feed everybody. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
More than 40 wildfires now burning, and every single western state is affected. California Governor Jerry Brown declaring a state of emergency in Butte County around Chico, where some 5,400 homes are threatened.
It's not the dumbest idea I've ever heard, but it's pretty close.
That's Republican Senator Lindsey Graham on NBC's Meet the Press, responding to President Trump's plans to have the U.S. and Russia work together on cybersecurity. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson saying,
Russia is not the only nation that we're going to have to begin to develop some way of how we as an international community are going to deal with what has emerged as an ever more complex issue. And I think the election interference really shows how complicated the use of these types of tools are becoming.
Florida Republican Senator Marco Rubio tweeting it's like partnering with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad on a chemical weapons unit. A ceasefire in Syria brokered by the U.S., Russia, and Jordan is holding for now.
Under the agreement, Syria's government will stop its airstrikes on rebel positions, and both sides will hold their fire. And the U.S., Russia, and also Jordan will monitor the region for any violations.
Fox's John Huddy in our Mideast Bureau urging international cooperation on North Korea, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley.
This is a dangerous person with the access to an ICBM, and we don't want that to happen. So we're going to fight hard on this.
Ambassador Haley on CBS's Face the Nation. Haley says China could face U.S. sanctions if it fails to get its ally and trading partner North Korea to end its nuclear and missile testing program. And he was a beloved cast member of the hit HBO series True Blood, played Lafayette, the short order cook. Nelson Ellis, dead of apparent heart failure. He was 39. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News Radio.
Hi, I'm Kelly Clarkson, and I've toured the country dozens of times, and there's one thing I see everywhere: childhood hunger. The sad truth is that 17 million kids struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers up surplus food and gets it to hungry kids. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, Rachel Ray here. Nothing brings a bigger smile to my face than cooking up a big meal for the whole family and lots of friends. But there's not enough room at my table for the 17 million kids in our country who struggle with hunger. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks collects surplus food to give hope to hungry kids. But they can't do it without your help. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Log on to 971talk.com/Allman and you can watch the show live on the Arrowhead Building Supply Studio Cam. Use your mobile device or computer to join the All in the Morning live stream. Arrowhead Building Supply Studio Cam, 971talk.com/Allman.
FM News Talk 97.1. Willie.
Brought to you by Choice Hotels. Econo Lodge and Roadway Inn hotels are serving up double points for every qualifying stay. Book at choicehotels.com. Now, here's the man who's been recognized as radio's best, the recipient of not one but two prestigious Marconi Awards for his broadcast excellence, the one and only Bill Cunningham.
Bill Cunningham, the great American. Good to have you with me this evening all across America. And coming up later, we have some great guests. Jason Riley of the Wall Street Journal was on this morning with George Stephanopoulos. He'll be with us later on in the second hour. Then also coming up later is Megan Barth in the last hour. Megan Barth of ReaganBaby.com from the young female perspective of what happened in Poland with the great speech that Trump gave. Also reporting tonight from the New York Times, 30 tricks on Donald Trump Jr., the curious case of a Russian agent claimed Hillary dirt. New York Times making it a big deal. There's no there. Also later on is Wayne Allen Root. Try to get him on once a month because he is so good. Wayne Allen Root's going to come on. He wrote a column comparing Jonathan Gruber and Barack Hussein Obama to Kevin Trudeau. You might recall Kevin Trudeau for like 20 years was the number one pitch man on TV in America. He wrote a book in 2012 about how to lose weight. In 2014, under Obama, the feds prosecuted him because they claimed it was fraud in the inception. He wrote a book. 1 million Americans bought it at $30 each. And in the book, it more or less said it's easy to lose weight. This is how to do it. Don't eat that much and exercise, essentially. Not brilliant talk, but nonetheless, because of emails that Kevin Trudeau had sent to others, it was obvious that the premise of his book was a fraud, that Kevin Trudeau did not believe it when he said it, and Americans lost money. Lost $30 million, most of which was paid back, and most Americans like reading his book. But nonetheless, the feds went after him because it was fraud in the inception. Compare the level of fraud in 2009 and 2010 on Obamacare. Jonathan Gruber now has said unequivocally, without question, that there was fraud in the inception of Obamacare. That Jonathan Gruber and Obama knew, like your doctor, keep your doctor. They knew that was a lie. Like your plan, keep your plan. Knew that was a lie. Like your present medical insurance, you can keep it. They knew that was a lie. They said your premium would go down $2,500 a year. They knew that was a lie. They said health care costs all across America would plummet downward. It would be ridiculous how many billions of dollars. They knew that was a lie. Everything they said to sell Obamacare was a lie, and we bought it hook, line, and sinker, which has cost Americans collectively hundreds of billions of dollars, and because of the rule of 30 and 50, has cost the American economy trillions of dollars. And not one time, other than Wayne Allen Root, have I heard Americans talk about fraud in the inception, fraud ab initio, fraud from the beginning, that Obama and his acolytes created in 09 and 10, and the Democrats continue to have the fraud of Obamacare that they refuse to even negotiate or talk about changing for the better. Starting tomorrow on Monday, there's growing doubts on Obamacare repeal, according to Mitch McConnell. The Republicans don't have the cojones to do it, and the Democrats won't help because they see this as the way to get back in power November of next year. So to hell with the country. Let's do what's right for us politically. So the Democrats are playing political games. So we're going to have Wayne Allen Root on at the top of the third hour to discuss his columns on the subject of Jonathan Gruber, Obama, and Kevin Trudeau, and also his solution for Obamacare, which is quite simple, which is so simple it'll never be adopted. But until then, early Wednesday morning, there was a 12-year veteran NYPD police officer. Her name was Officer Miasosis Familia, 12-year veteran of the force. She died several hours later in the hospital. She was shot at 12:30 a.m. Wednesday morning, and she was shot by a supporter of Black Lives Matter. I'll mention his name one time, Alexander Bonds, and that's it. Alexander Bonds had already assaulted one police officer using brass knuckles, but he wrote on his Facebook social media accounts, I can't use all the words, but police they use the F word. This ain't no gimmick. That's where your taxpayer money be going to pay off your own people being murdered. And he uses the N-word. Ain't taking it no more, Mr. Officer, unquote. He had other social media postings about wanting to hunt down a cop. So Familia was in a district that had a tremendous increase in crime. And so there was a mobile crime unit command post that was put in the Bronx for several months in order to try to reduce crime in that section of the Bronx. There was a 29% increase in murders in the Bronx, and so NYPD put Officer Familia and her partner as more or less a continuing presence in the Bronx, sitting there doing their duty, and several times the murderer walked back and forth, and then he picked the right time, maybe it was liquid courage, to stick a .357 revolver about 6 inches from a window and shot and murdered Officer Familia, who's the mother of 3, because he wanted to kill a cop. Since last year there was a 53% increase in murders of police officers with guns. 53% increase. This year so far, it's 9% greater than last year. Most of the cop killers are not well known, and most of the victims, the honorable hero police officers, names are generally not known. Can you name one cop in Dallas murdered? No. Can you name any of the cops murdered in Baton Rouge? No. There was a cop murdered in Cincinnati about 2 years ago named Officer Sonny Kim, murdered by a black activist. Had you ever heard of the name Officer Sonny Kim? Most of us would say no. Ishmael Brinsley, who murdered officers Liu and Ramos in 2014, had an Instagram posting that said, quote, I'm putting wings on pigs today. They take one of ours. Let's take 2 of theirs. Gavin Long, who shot and killed 2 police officers in Baton Rouge on July 17, 2016, declared, quote, I must bring the same destruction that bad cops continue to inflict upon my people, upon bad cops, as well as good cops. Micah Johnson, new Black Panther Party, and other black nationalist group he was a member, killed police officers in Dallas July 7th, 2016, almost exactly 1 year ago today. And so it is a frequent truth in America that black nationalists and leaders and parts of Black Lives Matter are out hunting down police officers. And until recently, this behavior was not criticized by our leadership. In fact, Barack Hussein Obama in July in Dallas had the guts to stand at memorial services for those cops murdered in Dallas and say, black parents were right to fear that their child could be killed by a cop every time he goes onto the street just for doing something stupid. So the president said that a black boy could be killed by a cop every time he walks into the streets. And then Obama's preposterous charge recalls to me what Mayor Bill de Blasio said, that he worries, quote, every night about the dangers his son may face from officers who are paid to protect him, after no cop was indicted in the death of Eric Garner in New York City. So you have in New York City a clown, a fool, and a communist, a New Yorker traveling to Germany, Hamburg, to stand with the anarchists, the communists, and the protesters who caused millions of dollars worth of damage, criticizing our president, who's the same mayor who said his own police department commit murders against kids that look like his son. His son is multiracial, who appears to be African American, because the mayor of New York, de Blasio, married a black lady, and their children appear to be African American. So when you're in an environment and in certain zip codes like New York, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, San Francisco, you live in some alternative universe. You don't live in real America. In New York City, you have the mayor taking up with anarchists in Hamburg, Germany, as one of his officers are murdered in his city of New York, and then 500 new cops are being sworn in on Friday. And de Blasio was with anarchists in Hamburg, Germany. And according to the polls, de Blasio is favored to be reelected. I think the election is this November. I think it's 2017. I think. But he's due to be reelected. So it is a feather in your cap if you're a New York City leader to talk about black kids being gunned down by police officers and to go speak to communists and anarchists that are causing tens of millions of dollars worth of damage, looting stores in Hamburg, Germany. That's considered a plus in New York City if you're the mayor. And the President of the United States, at a memorial for the cops killed in Dallas on July 7th, almost a year ago, said that black parents are right to fear that their child could be killed by a cop every time he goes onto the street. Really? That's the president said that. Obama. It is, to my way of thinking, beyond shocking, especially when every independent study that looks at the facts, the FBI, Washington Post, Harvard, the New York Times, clearly indicates by facts that more than twice as many individuals killed by police righteously are white. In the year 2016, it was 54% white, 27% black, 18% Hispanic, and 5% other. In 2015, similar statistics, 50% white, 28% black, 17% Hispanic, and 6% others. So in 99% of the time or more, the shootings are completely justified, according to every independent study. And don't believe me or Mark Levin. Believe the Washington Post. Believe the New York Times. Believe Harvard. Believe the FBI. Those are the facts. But you see, the facts don't fit the prejudice. So if the prejudice is disputed by the facts, ignore the facts and continue the prejudice and the bias, which is what the mainstream media does with Trump almost every day. Let's continue with your calls. The line we have right now, we just open up the lines. We have 6 lines available at 866-647-7337. And, of course, the big story tonight, New York Times, dirty tricks on Donald Jr. It's now been alleged that over a year ago, someone got a hold of Donald Trump Jr. And at the time that was going on, I had him on my local radio show, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, regularly, along with the future president. And if I would have said to Donald Trump Jr., look, I have some negative information about Hillary Clinton, can I get together with you? His answer not would have been yes, it would have been hell yes. In fact, if somebody went to Clinton and said, I got some negative information about Trump, can we get together? Podesta, whoever it would have been, Hillary would have said, Bill, Clinton, hell yeah, let's get together. What do you got? You can't say no to something till you hear what it is. But, tonight on the Drudge Report, that's a big deal. The media makes it a big deal when it is not a big deal. So let's continue. All this week, starting tomorrow, we're going to have more health care crises. And how the lies and deceptions of President Barack Hussein Obama continues to be a wet blanket on the American economy. Look, the economy is not growing at all. Until there's tax reform and repeal and replace Obamacare, until those two things happen, the wet blanket on the American economy will continue. The rule about 50 employees and 30 hours a week continues right now. The employer mandate, the individual mandate right now is in existence. Those are the things destroying the American economy. So until Obamacare is repealed and replaced, and until there's tax reform, we live in the Obama economy, which is built on mountains of lies. And if Kevin Trudeau, 3 years ago, could go to federal prison for writing a diet book that had some misclaims in it, what penalty is there to Jonathan Gruber, Barack Hussein Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Vice President Joe Biden, Harry Reid? What penalty do they get for a multi-trillion-dollar fraud? One might ask that question. Well, let's continue with more. If a line becomes available, you know the routine, 866-647-7337. In a little over an hour, we're going to have Jason Riley here, who this morning was with George Stephanopoulos on This Week. Later on in the top of the third hour, we're going to have Wayne Allen Root live from Henderson, Nevada, and more. 21 minutes after the hour, Billy Cunningham, loud, proud, and sassy, live with you every Sunday night.
Mom, what company did you use for your new blinds?
We used Blinds.com. Easy and affordable. Plus, they'll send you free samples, and every order gets free shipping.
Wow, okay.
They even remade our blinds for free because Dad didn't measure correctly the first time.
Perfect. Thanks, Mom. Smiley face.
Now through July 18th, save up to 30% on select products at Blinds.com and get an additional 5% off with promo code LIGHT. Blinds.com, promo code LIGHT. Rules and restrictions apply.
I'm Jim Ferraro, author of the book Blindsided, a true legal thriller that could happen to any one of us. I'll never forget the moment I got the call from a mother whose son was born without eyes because she was exposed to a chemical giant's product. It thrust me into a modern-day David versus Goliath battle. As an attorney, I had to seek justice for this family and take down a dark side of industry. And I did not quit until we won. To read more about this riveting and dramatic adventure, please visit your local bookstore or go to projectblindsided.com today.
Picture this scenario. Two masked men break into your house. They're armed with weapons and a look of drug-fueled rage. To protect your family, you're forced to take matters into your own hands. You do what you have to. You pull the trigger. Minutes later, the police arrive and suddenly you're handcuffed and pushed into the back seat of a cop car. Pause there for a second. If this were to happen to you, would you know what to expect? Would you know exactly what to say to the police and what not to say? Would you know who to call? Every responsibly armed American needs to know the answer to those questions, because believe me, you don't want any surprises when the police arrive. Go to defendwhatmatters.com right now to get your copy of the USCCA's brand new free guide that'll reveal the 6 things you didn't know would happen when the police arrive. After a self-defense incident, knowing what to expect when the police show up can truly be the difference between freedom or a jail cell. Get your personal copy of this free guide right now at defendwhatmatters.com. That's defendwhatmatters.com.
Hey, at our startup, my team and I move at the speed of tech 24/7. Bottom line, I just want the news that matters. So I turn to my local radio and TV stations. I want to hear from people who live and work in my town, people I know and trust. For the best entertainment, sports, news, weather, and traffic, anytime, anywhere, I stay local. Support your local stations. Text RADIO to 52886. Furnished by the NAB and this station. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Listen up, men. This is the St. Louis Men's Clinic. You've heard our ads on the radio, you've seen our commercials on TV, and you've seen us in the sports section of the newspaper, so you know what we do. Our physicians specialize in treating erectile dysfunction and premature issues in men of all ages. That's what we do all day, every day. So you've probably heard our ads thousands of times. The other times you were just listening to our ads, we were helping thousands of other men recover their sex life. While you were only watching our commercials, these men took action and have the intimacy back in their relationship. Don't wait until it's too late. Do something about your issue today. and move from skeptic to believer. We have a $199 office visit right now. Appointments fill fast. Call now, 314-828-2600. That's 314-828-2600. Call 314-828-2600. And don't forget to ask about our new revolutionary Priapus shot.
Hey, this is Reba McEntire, and I wanted to talk to you about a serious problem right here in our own backyard. Did you know that there are nearly 16 million kids struggling with hunger in America? That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks collects surplus food, engaging their communities in solving hunger and giving hope to hungry kids and their families. But they need your help. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
FM News Talk 97.1.
One last thought before I go to the American people I love so well and serve so long. Begin with Dave in Ohio, then Vic in California, Lisa in Florida, and many others. In 2009, when Obama seized power, he wanted to prove what he believed to be accurate, which is there's a bias when it comes to shooting black or white assailant suspects or those with or without weapons. And that if you're Eric Holder or Barack Hussein Obama from the mean streets of Chicago and you have access to $4 trillion, you want to prove the obvious that you believe, that is, that cops are shooting large numbers of black guys. That's what they believe. And so what they did was issue an $18 million grant. And, of course, they gave it to a Harvard professor named Roland G. Fryer and told him, please study interactions between police departments and African-American, white, Hispanic, and other men and women to determine what the facts are. Up to that point, there had been no national registry, shall we say, of police shooting people. Records were kept independently of each other. So Professor Fryer, who is eminent author of the study, professor of economics at Harvard, he got to work on it. He had access to his students and had access to researchers. So he spent $18 million. According to this news media accounts in the New York Times, they spent over 3,000 hours examining 1,332 fatal police shootings between 2000 and 2015 from every conceivable angle. Headline is, surprising new evidence shows no police bias in shootings. New study confirms that there is no bias when it comes to shooting of civilians by police. Yeah, he described, Professor Fryer said, quote, it is the most surprising result of my career. What they did was study 1,332. They went through it all. He goes on to say, in shootings, officers were more likely to fire their weapons without first being attacked when the suspects were white. Can I say that again? Professor Fryer said, officers were more likely to fire their weapons without having been first attacked when the suspects were white. And he went on to say that in many jurisdictions, if you are unarmed and white or armed and white, you're much more likely to be shot than if you're black. Mr. Fryer found that in such situations, police are 20% less likely to shoot if the suspects were black. Can we hear the New York Times again with that thud? And the article's date is, I don't see that. There it is, July 11, 2016, it was updated. So if you're black, you are less likely to be shot by a police officer than if you are white, statistically, according to Harvard. So the Washington Post said this can't be true. We don't believe the study. So they got to work in making this same remarks. Police shootings in race under a date of July 18, 2016. Typically, activists in the media measure police actions against population ratios, given that blacks are 13% of the population. About 27% of their share of police fatalities look disproportionate. But policing should be measured against crime rates, not population percentages. This story goes on to say that 54% of those shot in the year 2016 were white, 28% were black, Hispanic were 18%, the rest were other. Story goes on to say again, we're kind of surprised to report this, but you're twice as likely to be shot by a cop if you're white than black. It is a non-story when a cop shoots somebody white. It is a major story when the person shot is black, few as they are. And every day in America, there's more than 1 million contacts between African Americans and law enforcement, 1 million plus per day. The numbers shot are less than 1/1,000th of 1%. Extremely rare. The truth will set you free. Let's continue with de Blasio, Obamacare failure, and more, plus Trump and Putin. Bill Cunningham, the Great American, live with you every Sunday night.
I know, America sucks. I keep hearing that.
Weeknights, 9 to midnight.
The one hand, I hear a schizophrenic message.
Get more Levin.
On one side of the mouth, America's great. Then I hear out of the other side of the mouth, America sucks. Really?
Mark Levin.
What we need more is government control. Right? There's populism. Where does it end? Where does it end?
Weeknights, 9 to midnight.
People do not appreciate the golden goose that we have in this country.
On FM News Talk.
On FM News Talk 97.1.
Summer is always hot in St. Louis, and I mean real hot, and so are the savings.
Now at Suntrip Kia, it's the Summers on Us sales event. Drive off on a brand new Kia Forte lease for $99 a month, or lease a stylish 2017 Kia Optima, or have some fun in the summer with a Kia Soul. Ranked highest in initial quality for 2017 by J.D. Power & Associates for just $139 a month.
That could be less than your cell phone bill.
And at Suntrip Kia, make no payments on select models for 5 full months.
Take a vacation and don't worry about a car payment till fall. We want to see you in a Kia.
Suntrip Kia has financing options for everyone. We'll bend over backwards to get you on the road in a brand new Kia.
Come in and find out what it feels like to be number one.
Don't you think it's time to trade up to a new Kia? We're ready to help. Suntrip Kia on Manchester and West County, or on Lindbergh and South County.
Trade up in Suntrip.
Approved credit lease based on 36 months. 10K miles per year with 2,000 due at signing plus TTL acquisition fee. 0 security deposit. Negative equity applied to new loan. Offers not in combination. Expires end of month. Shop online 24/7 at suntripkia.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res Carpet Cleaning Company. So you are talking to not just the king, I am the master of procrastination, of justification. You give me a deadline and I will find a really good reason why to blow right through it. And you're probably similar. So you hear me talking about Zero Res. You hear me talking about getting your carpets cleaned, how it doesn't just make them beautiful, but it makes them healthy because there's all sorts of nastiness that just filters down into that carpet. You need to get it done, but you find reasons. Hey, let's do it after the holidays. Let's do it after Memorial Day. Let's do it after Labor Day. Just put on the big boy pants, get it done. It's one of those grown-up things you need to do, and they do it great. They're in and out. They use the patented empowered water system, and you don't have to do it again for a really long time. Mention me, get 3 rooms for starting at $129. 314-474-2020, ZeroResSTL.com.
Hey, this is Reba McEntire, and I wanted to take a moment to talk to you about a serious problem right here in our own backyard. Did you know that there are nearly 16 million kids struggling with hunger in America? That's 1 out of every 5 precious children in this country who might not get to eat dinner tonight. But hope is just around the bend, because there's enough healthy, nutritious food produced in this country to put a smile on the face of every last hungry kid. And that's when the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks steps into the picture. They collect surplus food, engaging their communities in solving hunger and giving hope to the hungry kids and their families. But they need your help. So join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank. Find out how you can help at feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The news of the day.
North Korea's launch.
If Putin likes Donald Trump,
challenges in the Middle East.
Every day.
Republican and Democrat.
Repeal Obamacare.
This tax hike.
The tweets. Fake news.
St. Louis's FM News Talk.
The West will never, ever be broken.
FM News Talk 97.1.
For our neighbors across the state.
In the region.
Across the globe.
Younger. Smarter.
Very closely connected.
Better. FM News Talk 97.1.
So one might ask, since the facts about police shootings are objective, impartial, Facts are stubborn things. Facts are not Democrat, Republican, black or white. Facts are facts. Reported by the New York Times, the Washington Post, etc., Harvard. Why doesn't the mainstream media spend time on this? If there's someone in Wisconsin maybe wrongfully shot by a cop, possibly, it becomes a big national. Every time the story is told about Eric Garner or Michael Brown or Trayvon Martin, there's got to be objective reporting by the mainstream media about the truth, that you are much more likely to be shot by a cop if you're white than black, doing things to get somebody shot. Cops are not out there willy-nilly looking for people to shoot. In fact, Jason Riley wrote a column, he's coming up in about an hour, of the Wall Street Journal, in which he pointed out that back in the good old days of 1971, not the dark ages, but a long time ago, there were 315 New Yorkers shot by police in New York City. 315. In the year 2016, there were 23, even though the population was greater. So you go from 315 to 23. And of the 23 shot by NYPD, 16 lived and only 7 died. It is among the most rare things in the world to be shot and killed by a cop. If you're black or white, it's extremely rare. But because the media doesn't cover it objectively and fairly and impartially, there are fools and clowns and Black Lives Matter activists like Alexander Bonds, who murdered on Wednesday Officer Familia, who believe lies because they're pumped into their head with that information, which is not accurate and it's not true. The media created the Michael Brown facade and the fraud. The Michael Brown, St. Louis. They created that by not factually reporting on what happened to Officer Darren Wilson. Because of blood splatter evidence, it is objectively provable what occurred. We know what happened. But the media continues the myth and the lie, and just last week or 2 weeks ago, Ferguson or the St. Louis County paid the family allegedly about $1.6 million for Michael Brown's worthless life. When he tried to kill a cop, the family gets rewarded by getting $1.6 million. Michael Brown should have been charged with attempted murder of a police officer if he would have lived. Attempted murder of a cop. And his family gets $1.6 million. And Alexander Bonds on Wednesday morning kills a 12-year veteran NYPD mother of 3 because he's filled with hatred pumped into his brain by Black Lives Matter. What do we want, dead cops? When do we want them now? Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. And the mainstream media covers these stories as if there's some rampant scourge recently of police shooting of black men, when the opposite is true. NYPD, 1971, 315 civilians shot by police. In the year 2015, from 315 down to 23. Think the New York Times would report those? No. All the news that fits, they print. That doesn't fit, they don't print. Let's continue with your calls. Bill de Blasio is a joke. Let's go to Lisa first in Florida. And Lisa, welcome to the Bill Cunningham Show. Lisa, go ahead. I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry. Lisa, I got you now. Lisa, go ahead.
Okay. Bill de Blasio is a pig who should be removed.
No, he's going to. New Yorkers are going to reelect him.
That's so ridiculous. I am a New Yorker. I live in Florida now, but upstate New York people are different than the people in the city of New York. Yeah.
Upstate New York is normal.
Well, all I'm saying is, if you look at, there's a website called HeyJackA.com. I don't want to say the whole word, but it talks about all the statistics of black-on-black crime in places like Chicago.
Reality. In other words,
that's your real problem.
Reality. Oh, how about last weekend? The statistics came out on Wednesday. In the city of Chicago, there were 104 shootings in the city of Chicago over the 4th of July weekend. 104 and 27 killed. No big deal. 104. the community organizer, Obama, Mayor Rahm Emanuel, Obama's chief of staff, Jesse Jackson's hometown, Louis Farrakhan's hometown. There's going to be 4,000 blacks shot in the city of Chicago this year. 4,000. How much national media does that get?
Is a joke. I mean, that guy, I don't understand that guy.
He was reelected.
I can't believe that.
Well, Lisa, individuals that live in Chicago, D.C., New York, most of California live in some bubble. They live in some alternative universe where real Americans don't live there. Well, I don't understand how the mayor, with a dead cop and 500 new cops being sworn in, go off to council with rioters and miscreants and criminals and communists.
Why?
And he flew back today like no big deal. And the city is in meltdown. Bums are urinating and defecating on the street. The subway is in total meltdown. Welfare is up 28%. There's more crime because NYPD can't take it anymore. This guy's in Hamburg, Germany, speaking to a bunch of anarchists.
And you wonder why they turn their backs on him.
Well, he's the one that said my black son, when he walks in the streets, fear he's going to get assassinated by police. And it's because of CNN, Fake News Network, New York Times. They keep telling us lies about black on black and who the police are shooting. And idiots like Alexander Bonds takes it to heart, has social media postings in which he's going to identify and kill cops. Same thing happened in Dallas and Baton Rouge and Cincinnati, where I live. Cops are being gunned down by black activists because they believe what CNN is telling them.
The problem is they're not respectful. All you have to do is be respectful, and then everybody's cool.
How about comply? How about Michael Brown complying? Well, we had an incident in Cincinnati, which I'm going to talk to Jason Rowley about in about an hour, in which a University of Cincinnati police officer pulls over someone named Sam DuBose who had 90. Not 9, I said 90 citation or arrest. Sam DuBose failed to comply over a period of time. The officer thought he was being dragged, and he shot him in the head. All hell's been breaking loose in Cincinnati for the last 2 years. Had 2 hung juries. And it happens. Every now and then, you're going to have a cop like Michael Slagle shooting Walter Davis in South Charleston, South Carolina. That was a murder. You're going to have the cop in Chicago shooting a black kid stumbling, high on drugs, stumbling and fumbling away from him. Shouldn't have shot the kid, and the cop's facing manslaughter charges. You're going to have a handful of those cases every year, but 99.999% are not questionable. But the mainstream media will not tell the truth about black-on-black violence and about interaction with the police department. You must comply. That's all you got to do. Michael Brown, comply. Eric Garner, comply. Every now and then a cop will make a mistake. Maybe the one in Wisconsin, maybe that was a mistake, but the cop was found not guilty. But the family was paid multi-millions of dollars, and the cop was fired. And so in Cincinnati, $5.6 million was paid to the family of Sam DuBose. The cop was fired. Ray Tenzing fired. 2 hung juries, can't reach verdicts. Might be a third one, might not be one. Those things happen. Cops are human beings. Cops make mistakes. When a doctor makes a mistake, somebody might be buried. When a cop makes a mistake, somebody might be buried. But the great majority of interactions, nothing happens. Over 1 million interactions per day, nothing happens. Zero, zilch, nada. When you don't comply, bad things might happen. Let's continue with Dave in Ohio, then thousands of others. Dave in Ohio, welcome to the Bill Cunningham Show. Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, Willie, it's always a pleasure to join you, and let's just cut to the chase. The only way these crooked politicians like that de Blasio can get away with what they're doing is because the pathetic, corrupt, big media that's form that lies to the American people day and night, and all these pathetic cable shows, whether it's a Washington Post, New York Times, they have an agenda. The agenda is to carry the water for these corrupt Democratic politicians, whether it's Hillary or Chuck U. Schumer or that lying, conniving communist fraud that was in Covington, Kentucky today.
Which one? Bernie Sanders.
Pack of lies. Yeah, Bernie Sanders, that big-time socialist and stuff, whose wife's being under investigation for being a crook or a thief or pulling shenanigans, whatever you want to call it. But here's the thing I want to hit on, Willie, and I want you to comment. Donald Trump finally got to meet Putin, and Putin came out and told Donald Trump right to his face that he had nothing to do spying or trying to fiddle around with the election. It was all pack of lies, and his government didn't have anything to do with it. Now, Putin can't speak for every individual in Russia. I mean, he might have had some hackers there from Russia try pulling some fishy stuff, but I believe Putin, and Trump believed him too. And how could you trust Clapper and Brenner and Obama and the mainstream media when they're pushing this pack of lies for 6-7 months that Russia tried stealing the election?
Dave, look at it this way. America has meddled with foreign elections for decades.
Yes.
We have spent millions of dollars sending political operatives, and it's did those kinds of things for decades. Obama did not want Benjamin Netanyahu to be reelected prime minister in Israel. He sent millions of dollars of our money, and he also sent his campaign operatives to defeat Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, how big of a story was that in this country? Hardly at all. It was no big. We always try to influence and meddle foreign elections, and they do the same thing with us. You and I live in Ohio. We were here at the epicenter of the biggest campaign conducted between Hillary and Trump. There was not one circumstance where Russia had influence on any one vote in the Buckeye State. Would you agree there was no influence here at all? Zero.
No, zero. It was none. I never heard anybody say
zero
or accuse Russia of doing any shenanigans or pulling anything, influencing anything.
Nothing.
It's all pack of lies, but it's a narrative that's created by mainstream media to cover up for everything Obama did. Obama had the CIA or the NSA or whatever spying on American people. That's well documented.
Millions of us.
Yes.
He meddled in the lives of millions. Listen to this. Obama meddled in the lives of millions of Americans, and that is a non-story.
Well, that's exactly right. It shows you how corrupt it was. Donald Trump has got to get tough. He needs to get tough with the mainstream media. He needs to get tough with the Democrat Party, and he needs to get tough with the Republican rhino leadership that's scared to death of their whole shadow because, CNN might report a phony story. Boy, nobody out here believes mainstream media. Their ratings are lower than Congress, and you know how low those ratings are.
Yeah, they're believable compared to the Congress.
Well, it's a crying shame, but I'm going to be very anxious to see what Wayne Allen Root has to say.
Well, he's coming up in about an hour and 15. Wayne Allen Root wrote 2 great columns. When I read the second one, comparing Kevin Trudeau, who was the admin from television, put in prison for 10 years by Loretta Lynch for misrepresenting getting rid of fat, compared to what Kevin Trudeau received to what Obama did not receive for lying about Obamacare. It's unbelievable how trillions of dollars is not enough, but $30 a book is enough to put somebody in jail for 10 years. And Kevin Trudeau ought to be out. Somehow, if Trump can pardon somebody, it ought to be Kevin Trudeau using Obama. If Obama's free, then Kevin Trudeau needs to be free too.
Well, I mean, that's a good point. And the other thing I'd bring up, Obama gave a bunch of pardons out there to hardcore drug dealers and dopers and stuff. And as soon as they got loose, they went right back to their criminal ways, et cetera, mainstream media.